Hi, my name is John from Japanese Knife Imports, and today I'm here to talk to you about our Gesshin 3000 grit Splash and Go stone. This is a new stone for our lineup, and it's our first true Splash and Go stone that we've added to our normal lineup. And what does true Splash and Go mean? Well, there are a number of stones out there that we have. Some are ceramic, some are resinoid, some are magnesia based, and based on the type of binding agent that's being used, the stones will absorb more or less water as you use them. For example, ceramic and clay-based stones tend to absorb a lot of water and they require soaking prior to use, usually about 10-15 minutes, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Resinoid-based stones, on the other hand, require much less soaking, and people often refer to them as splash and go stones, though in my experience they work best with a short soak, some with even a longer soak. Our Gesshin 6000 is a great example of that. It's a resinoid-based stone that I leave permanently in water because it helps soften the surface and helps the stone cut a little bit more quickly. This stone, however, is not like that. This stone actually does not really absorb so much water and is not really designed to absorb lots of water. So let me show you a little bit about this stone. Here you can see my personal stone that I've been using for a while, and so the sides are a little bit dirty and it's kind of beat up a little bit. But over here next to me, I have a brand new stone, and I will show you what that looks like. Here's the box that the stones come in. Nothing really too fancy there, just says Gesshin 3000, and that's that. The stone looks like this, and what you'll see is that we have a big Gesshin logo. It says the 3000 grit both there and on the sides over here. What's interesting though is when you flip over the stone, this is actually the side that's intended to be used. So not the side that has our logo on it, but rather the side that doesn't have anything on it. And I think you can probably see in this video that the surface of this stone is not particularly clear, homogeneous. There's a little bit of white, a little bit of teal, and it's all kind of mixed together. And then the sides are actually lacquered. The look of the stone has very little to do with the performance, and it's just a function of the way these stones are made. But the sides being lacquered is kind of important. It's not too dissimilar from what happens on natural stones, where the stones are lacquered to help protect them, keep them together over time, and to not have so much water soak into the stone. And so that's what's happening here. This 3000 grit stone was brought with the idea that it would be a great touch-up stone for professionals and home cooks looking for a stone that they don't have to soak, they don't have to worry about so much, something they can use. We wanted something that would cut quickly, and you'll see we have a couple of knives here to test with. You'll see that this stone does cut quickly, and a lot of our customers have been asking for something that they don't have to prepare or think about, that they can just drop it on their countertop, touch up their knife, and put it away and be done with that. And this stone does that very well. It leaves a very polished looking edge, and hopefully we'll be able to see that on the knives that we're sharpening today. It is a 3000 grit stone. The edge feels like 3000 grit, so it's a little bit on the toothier side relative to some of the other finishing stones that we have. Some people like that toothiness. It works really well for thick-skinned vegetables, tomatoes, bell peppers. I've actually used the edge from this knife even to cut raw fish and raw vegetables, and what I look for when I cut those things is to get like a really nice sheen, kind of glossy look to my cuts, and that tells me that my knife is sharp and it's cutting the way that I want it to cut. And so I've found that this stone's edge will actually do that for me, both on raw fish and raw vegetables, which is kind of nice. The stone doesn't dish that quickly, and I've been using mine for a little while now. I haven't found that I need to flatten it very often. It's pretty consistent and even. What is important to know is that when you do flatten this stone, I recommend that you round the edges of the stone both before and after flattening. And the reason is, it's a little bit more brittle than some of the other stones that we have. And you can see mine has a couple of chunks missing from the edges over here. And that's from my mistake in not doing that, not realizing that this stone is more brittle than some of the other stones that we carry. So that is something important to keep in mind, rounding the edges as you go, both before and after flattening. This stone has already been flattened and is ready to go, and so we're going to test a couple of different knives. And the first knife that we're going to test is a powdered steel Santoku. It's a high hardness powdered steel, so it will give you an idea of how this stone works on a very high hardness, not particularly easy to sharpen steel. So here we go. And you'll notice that this stone has not required me to put a lot of water on it or soak it in any way. I just splashed a little bit of water before I started sharpening, and now I'm going. You'll see the water is retained on the surface of the stone pretty well. And here you should see a decent bit of swarf being formed. And in fact, I already have a burr that is pretty easy for me to feel here. So I'll continue to sharpen just a little bit more so you can see the kind of cutting speed that you can expect from this stone, and hopefully you can also hear how it sounds. It's a very smooth, creamy feeling, like a not slippery in a bad way, but like a creamy, slippery kind of feeling. Our Gesshin 6000 actually feels pretty similar to that. And as I mentioned before, being a true splash and go stone, this stone should really not be soaked, and this stone will actually fall apart if it is soaked for too long. So it's going to be very important that you don't soak this stone. Here you can see the swarf that's loaded up on here, and I just want to show you that the stone is not loading up. So if I go like that, everything is gone and the stone is clean. And I don't think you'll be able to see the tiny little edge in here, but it's a very shiny, even and consistent edge. This stone leaves a very mirror-like finish. In fact, it's shinier than some stones that we have at much higher grits. So that was a high-speed powdered steel. Next, we're going to move to some carbon steel. And so here I have a knife in blue number 1 with cladding. And on this, the previous stone that I used was used to draw out this Kasumi finish a little bit. And I had started sharpening a little bit on this stone. You'll see that there's some shiny spots that are forming. This stone is not great for giving contrast to hard and soft steels. It leaves a very shiny, consistent finish. So here we go. This is a wide bevel carbon steel knife. You can see that the cutting speed is clearly faster on this than it was on the powdered steel, stainless powdered steel knife. And part of that is just that we have more surface area in contact, and part of it is that it's an easier to sharpen steel. And I believe that you'll see that the cutting speed is pretty fast on this stone. There's quite a bit of black, and that is the metal being removed from the knife. I don't want to call this stone a muddy stone, but you'll see that there is quite a bit of mud that's being created right now. And on a lot of wide bevel knives, single bevel knives included, this stone does create this kind of mud swarf kind of mixture, which is nice because it helps the stone achieve a very even and smooth finish. And as I'm adding water to the stone surface, you'll see it's just a couple of drops here and there. It's not a huge amount of water that's necessary for me to use on this. And here's an idea of what it looks like. I'm just going to rinse this off really quick so you can get a better idea. Some of the contrast is still remaining, and you can see what's happening is that the parts that I'm focusing on are really getting to be a lot shinier. The edge itself is rather shiny, and I hope that that comes across in this video. It's a very nice, even, and consistent polish. Anyways, hopefully this gives you an idea of how this Gesshin 3000 grit stone works. You can see here the end result, and we'll just rinse that off really quick, and you'll see that again there's no loading up of this stone. So it's a relatively easy to use stone that doesn't load up, and you just need to be a little bit careful with how brittle the stone can be around the edges. So be careful when you flatten it, and be careful not to soak it. But for those of you looking for a great splash and go touch-up stone for your knives, this might be your guy. So check it out, the Gesshin 3000 grit stone at JapaneseKnifeImports.com. As always, if you have any questions, you can email me at john@JapaneseKnifeImports.com, or actually calling our store is a little bit better, so feel free to do that with any questions. Thanks so much and have a great day.